Hi, friends. Welcome to Immigration News by Ting Law. Today, we're going to share the exciting news of how we were able to successfully obtain an approval for remove conditions within 5 months and 7 months, respectively. And that was during coronavirus period. So listen to the episode all the way to the end. You'll want to hear all the 4 tips. I'm your host, John Ting. I practice immigration law in all 50 states of America and across the world, representing clients to find a pathway to live and work in America legally. If you're new to our channel, please hit subscribe down below so you can follow all our videos in the future. And go ahead and hit the like button. It lets us know that you've enjoyed our content so we can keep producing these videos and share more tips for you guys. Now, on to the tips. Now, I'll tell you about one of the cases. And of course, first of all, I'm not disclosing any client confidentiality. I wouldn't do that for you if you were a client. But I can talk about the basic situation and how that can a way for you to be successful in your case. Now, in one of these cases, it was untimely, meaning by the time the client came to us and wanted to file and realized they wanted to file to remove the conditions, he or she did not actually know what the proper form was. Now, it is listed on the USCIS website. However, it doesn't tell you exactly step by step. And this person had actually did file a form called I-90, and that's to renew your resident status. Except when a person obtains a conditional resident status, which means it's only for 2 years, you have to remove those conditions. Now, there's a separate specific form for that, and that's a form I-751. Essentially, it's the government wanting you to resubmit similar financial documents, joint bank accounts, for example, and other documents to show that you've continued your bona fide marriage, your genuine marriage. Now, there's, of course, unfortunately to say, in the United States, an alarmingly high amount of divorces. However, people get divorced for so many different reasons, and sometimes for no reason at all. And so that's why the government wants to have any bona fide evidence up until that point. And we'll cover more about divorce waiver type 751 cases in a different episode. But for today's purpose, we wanted to share at least 4 to 5 tips on how you can get a successful outcome. Now, of course, I cannot guarantee that you will get your case approved in 5 months or 7 months or anything less than 15 months, because the processing time on the USCIS website as of today actually shows on average 14 to 20 months processing time. And that's from the Texas Service Center, Potomac Service Center, Nebraska Service Center, and Vermont Service Center. They're all about the same. And so if you ask me how we're able to get this done in a timely manner, especially during this year in 2020 with coronavirus period, it's just sticking to our game plan, our checklist that we share with all clients. And, what we do is essentially we're your guide. We want to provide you the checklist that we know is successful. Unfortunately, in these 2 cases this summer, they were approved in a short amount of time and without an interview. So here's the first tip. It is explain any red flag. So in this case this summer, one of them was untimely, right? So we want to explain why that happened. And we don't want the government to think, well, he didn't give a reason. And we don't want to give the government an opportunity to assume what happened, right? Maybe they just simply forgot to file anything. But in this situation, he or she did file something. It was just the different form. It was not the correct form at the time. And so we provided a copy of that. We told them up front in a cover letter. So cover letter is our one pager, usually on the top of your package, that we explain everything. Now, do the officers actually read it? I certainly hope so, because we explain everything on there. I just about know every lawyer I know actually provides this. Another red flag that could be happening, especially right now during coronavirus and when people get laid off and whatnot, you try to find a new job, right? So your spouse could be living in a different city because of getting a new job. Now, we've had several clients in this situation even before the pandemic. And so one way to prove that you still have a bona fide marriage is writing down a letter, essentially, what we call affidavit or declaration. You don't have to get it notarized, especially during this coronavirus. It's, some people don't want to get out. I certainly take precautions myself with PPE. And so instead of going to your local bank, where normally if you have an account there, you can get it done for free, we provide our clients a statement of the penalty of perjury statement. You can actually Google internet search this, and you can easily find it. But essentially, that takes a place of you needing it to be notarized. Anyway, so you want to explain the red flag there and why you're living in a different address. Okay, one person could be living in Dallas, Texas, while another person is living in Houston, Texas. And so even though it's a relatively short distance, about 3 hour drive on average, there's still a physical separation. So you have to explain, for example, how often you visit your spouse, um, why you have a different address in the first place, and especially when it's a temporary address like an apartment, you want to show that maybe the one spouse left to another city and the other spouse is joining you at a later time. But especially with the coronavirus, who knows what's going to happen, right? Now, on to the second tip: joint bank account. Everyone knows about this, right? You have to show joint financial accounts. Now, that could be through a checking account, savings account, like a 401k retirement account. Now, especially during the coronavirus, a lot of our clients don't have as many transactions or activities on the statement. Now, we want to share a few examples on how we've been able to counter that with a lack of financial activity. Now, the first way is to show bills in the same address. Now, it would be great, of course, if the bill is in the same name, but even I've had difficulty in trying to get two names on one account. And usually it's easier with just one name. So I understand that, but you have to at least show the same address in this situation. The second thing is to show, and this could be done through an expense in addition to the cable bill, Netflix bill, or your phone bill. Now, another way you can show the same address is through maybe your tuition bill or some kind of online class or your medical bills. Some clients have been willing to share their social media posts. Everyone's on their phones on social media during coronavirus. So, if you're taking selfies, things like that, that's an opportunity to screenshot that. And we've even had some clients buy a house during coronavirus, believe it or not. Maybe it's the best time to rent a truck and move it across town or move to a different city completely, since most cars were not on the road during that time or earlier this year. So anyway, that buying a house is, of course, a significant purchase of an asset. So keep that in mind. We always ask clients, it's a rare situation for someone to buy a house during your immigration case, but we really encourage our clients and remind our clients that in some apartment complexes, you're able to add an additional occupant because sometimes people forget to do that. They don't think it's important because the lease does allow an extra occupant, but it doesn't require them to put it. I know places where I lived in an apartment, it always required it. And that's, of course, if we told them, right? And I think people don't tell the apartment complex because they want to try to avoid the application fee. So that's why we've been proactive in telling our clients that you do need to add your spouse as a additional occupant. Now, the fourth tip is writing cover letter. We kind of briefly discussed that earlier, but the reason us as attorneys do that is so because we can lay the foundation of why you are eligible for the case. So if you do that in the beginning on top of your package, it's a lot easier for the government to understand what kind of case you have. Really, for us, it's our roadmap. When we write that down, like how you're eligible, it's a reminder to us that you actually are eligible, right? Of course, we know that from our consultation with our clients in the beginning. Now, here's a bonus tip, the fifth tip, and that is to provide payment through a credit card form. That is a G1450. Now, depending where you send the application, lockbox or an actual address, physical address, they will they will accept this credit card form. Now, in my mind, when you provide this form, it does get the process started a little bit sooner, because if you send a money order or a check, I think it takes a couple more weeks to receive the receipt notice. Now, here's a bonus tip for y'all, and that is to provide payment through a credit card form. It's the G1450. Most people are accustomed to using check or money order. Now, if you're going to use some kind of format like that, do not provide money order, please. Get a cashier's check at a local bank. Worst case scenario, I know it costs a little more because you got to pay for that, but at least you can make sure that it's actually cashed. If you use a money order, there's no way to follow up. And back to the main tip, and that is to use a credit card form. Now, you can't always use it. It depends where you send it. So check if it accepts it. There's a specific page on the USCIS website for that. And so that's our final tip. I cannot guarantee that your case will be approved in 5 or 7 months just because you follow these tips, but it will be a smoother process for you. So there's a lot more tips that we can provide, so we'll share that with you in the future. So stay tuned. Friends, we thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so right down below here, and smash the like button and leave a comment. Let us know how far along your case is in general. And until the next episode, please stay safe.